Hello and welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. My name is Chris Au and I will be your host for today's show. Today's program is going to be very exciting. I have with me the queen of klezmer, Adrianne Greenbaum, and I can't wait to hear her perform, but also talk to her about the Klezmer Flute as well as advice we have and she has for competitors, performers, and people of this upcoming season. We'll discuss with you all of these amazing things in order to serve you, musicians and young performers out there, by giving you valuable insights into music, hearing amazing music performed live from our studio, and also insights into the music world today. And this is because it is our passion to be connecting musicians and audiences in real-time live music performances in programs around the globe. Hello and welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. My name is Chris Au and I have a really great show for you today. I'm very excited about my guests, who I will talk about very soon. But first, I want to talk to you about our upcoming season. We have a really exciting season coming up all the way until July 2024, including 4 Carnegie Hall galas. We have 4 different orchestras, not just in the US, but all around the world, for performers, soloists to be a part of. We welcome all ensembles, duos, trios, as well as composers. We have a very special program for composers where young performers will perform your scores, your written compositions in Carnegie Hall live. So this is an incredible opportunity, and not only would it be performed there, you will also get a live performance recording of this piece that you have. So this is a really important privilege for all musicians out there, and we want to show you this. And I have a great privilege of introducing a great guest who's a previous judge of our Sound Espressivo competition, as well as an incredible artist. So I'm very excited about that. But first, let's have a quick look at what we have in store for this season. So as you can see, we have a really exciting season up ahead, and I want to tell you briefly about how it all works. So you go to our website at soundespressivocompetition.com or progressivemusicians.com. You send in an application and we'll ask for a video. And once you're selected, we will have live auditions coming up at the end of October, so very soon. And those live auditions will come in the form of a live show, which you'll see how that all works very soon when I have my guest on performing live. So it will be very much like that. And then the finalists and prize winners will have an opportunity to perform in Carnegie Hall. So we're having this hybrid of live auditions online, where you can be at the comfort of your own home, or in a space that's very acoustically good for your instrument, and then we give you a live in-person venue as a reward, as a prize. And I think that's just an incredible way for young musicians to get out there. Leading up to the season, we have incredible interviews and shows on at 12 noon every single day, in order to not just promote us, but to promote amazing musicians like my guests coming up, who are just a part of this music world and have so much valuable insight to give. We have musicians, guest artists, judges, music promoters, all different parts of our organization to give you insight and to give you clues to discover your niche and your career. So today I'd love to introduce to the virtual stage the amazing Queen of Klezmer Flute, Adrianne Greenbaum. Welcome to the show, Adrianne. It's such a pleasure to Yes, and so without further ado, I would love to introduce you very quickly, and then you're going to perform live for us. So a very brief bio. We're going to have much more information about her later on in the tickers, but Adrianne Greenbaum is a nationally acclaimed flutist and clinician performing on historical instruments of the 18th and 19th centuries and the modern Boehm system. She's a pioneer of the Klezmer flute tradition, and recognized as the Queen of Klezmer Flute. She's professor of flute at the Mount Holyoke College. Excuse my pronunciation, and is the foremost purveyor of the Klezmer Flute tradition. Without further ado, please, the stage is yours.
Get the right track, it jumped. Okay. Hello? Wait a minute. There we go. And let me turn this off before it jumps. Okay, it's not going to
Bravo!
There's a quick story about this tune. This is composed by an ancient flute. He was written up in Time magazine for being quite the character. He was related to some very famous musicians, so that's why he got his article in there. But you can tell the character of this gentleman. His name is Fishberg, and he apparently was missing from the old age home that he was in, and they asked him, "Isaac, where have you been? It is like 2 a.m. What's the matter with you? We couldn't find you." He said, "Well, I found a wedding happening in New York, and I decided to go in and play with them." And the wedding in 4 hours. I know, he was 99 at the time, so
Wow.
there was a reason to be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And they also came in with a bloody nose. You don't get a bloody nose from playing the flute, but in any case,
That's
it's
a
a
great story.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing. So this is his composition and
yes,
all
yes.
okay. And
It was only one found on, in the record.
yeah.
Um,
Adrian, that was amazing. I love how fun it was. It felt like it was going faster and faster, very gradually as it went
yeah,
by. Is it true?
well,
Yeah.
I'm the one who made the track, the backing track.
Ah, I
So
see.
I added a little personality in
Of
there.
course, yeah. It just got more and more exciting as it went, and it was
Yeah.
just so much fun. Is there a name for this song? Is there a name for what did maybe I
Yes.
missed it? Yeah.
No, the name of it is remembering old times
Ah.
in Yiddish, but
That's fantastic. Well,
yeah.
welcome to the show. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us. Is this, excuse me if I don't know enough, is this part of the klezmer repertoire that you're playing? Okay.
I'm making it part of the klezmer repertoire.
Ah, I see.
It was recorded by an orchestra in the 1920s, maybe
Oh.
1927, and that's the only record we have of it. Literally, record.
Mm. What is it like to be in this klezmer world compared to the classical world? What are the people like, and what do you enjoy about this kind of community?
Well, we've given ourselves permission, as they may have done in the Baroque period, but as time progressed, maybe not until jazz came along, I don't know, but in the folk world, you take a little more liberties, and so
Okay.
you understand that it can evolve. It's written down. We have lots of manuscripts, but what I have come to know through my 25 years of being in this world, and I used to follow the manuscript or the recording note by note.
Wow.
I remember saying to my colleague when we were doing a recording, "Oh no, they didn't put a note there. They didn't put the ornament there." But you learned that was a one-time thing, and so
Mm-hmm.
it offers freedom within the genre.
Mm-hmm.
You have if you've been a promoter and I guess
Pioneer? Yeah.
pioneer, um, of a tradition, you understand that
Yeah.
you go with the traditions of the time, and
Yeah.
then understand that you can go left and right.
Absolutely.
Or,
Yeah. I know in part of your attraction and to this kind of music was you mentioned how soulful it was, how it drew you. Could you talk a little bit about more about what's the soulfulness about it? Is it sort of
well,
the modes they use, the kind of melodies? What is it that really?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, very very good, Chris. Go to the
Ah, thank you.
top of the class. Yeah, the modes do help. Um, we have the familiar, which is
Mm.
not officially klezmer. A familiar mode is called Frege, and it
Oh,
goes like this. Well, I don't dare play, right? Or I can sing it.
yeah, sure.
Let me try playing it.
Nice.
You can tell, even though Hava Nagila is also in that mode, and it's not officially klezmer, because klezmer, by definition, is music of Eastern European Jews. So that does not include Israeli Jews. And
Okay.
uh, there's lots of crossover.
Uh-huh.
One of our dances we call a Bulgar, really is the Israeli hora is based on the steps of the Bulgar. So it being a newer country,
Mhm.
we have that crossover and the newness and the oldness about klezmer. We've got lots of modes. This one And so when it's not to say that it's always only in slow, soulful pieces, but what people do sometimes think is that klezmer is always like the first piece that I played, upbeat and a little wild. And if you have a whole band playing, it can be wild. And I changed the mind of one rabbi in my life. I said, "Can I come and play klezmer at your synagogue?" He said, "Oh, no, it's wild music. I don't want that." And on a flute, you've got to be kidding me. And I just happened to see him at the airport, and I had my CDs with me, and I said, "Can I try changing your mind?" And he said, "If you want." I handed him a CD, and he wrote to me a month later. He said, "You have indeed changed my mind. I did not know that klezmer could be this way. I did not know of the flute's tradition in klezmer." And that's what, if I leave one element of my life in my capsule, I wanted to be that I brought music, klezmer music, back to the flute. It was kind of kicked out of the band as things evolve.
Sure, yeah.
Sound-wise, we couldn't keep up with the sound capabilities.
Yeah.
Although there were bands that had 3 flutes in them. But if you see old photos, you get to see us.
Right.
Flute. And that flute is a different flute. Get the whole thing in there. It's a different.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And looks more like when I pick this up in a band and people think I'm playing a clarinet. Sound like one. So
not quite, yeah.
Yeah, the fingering of the old klezmer flute is more like the clarinet. It's based on the same system, the Albert system. It's also called the simple system.
I was just wanting to ask you about, speaking about, the old klezmer tradition. You were back in Paris this summer, well, maybe a little bit before the summer, and I'd love for you to tell us a bit about your time there and what it was like to work with people in Europe, where you might get people who just have listened to this music all their lives. Or I'm not sure. What was that time like for you?
I guess I was surprised at those. They have a fantastic Jewish Yiddish museum, and their library is quite filled. They have klezmer musicians over there, only numbering a few in comparison to New York. My class was filled with flutists, because I held it only for flutists, who had experienced some klezmer on the flute through a wonderful musician who leads an amateur band. Oh my God, the name just, Tamar, it'll come, Martha, Tamar, I'll apologize to her later.
We'll look it up later. We'll do some research. Yeah.
Brilliant herself. And
wow.
So
okay.
She brought her students to the class, and they learned, certainly things that they had no idea about.
I'm curious to know. Sorry, yeah, just curious to know what kind of things are you teaching? Because in my mind, there's like flute master classes of the classical tradition where you talk about technique and maybe the style, maybe the certain things. What are you working on in terms of the klezmer flute and that tradition?
One big difference is that the vibrato that we use in modern flute playing is not as prominent in klezmer, either you notice that the few klezmer flute recordings that we have, the solo ones, eliminate the vibrato altogether, or it is so bad. But it's more like, I'm going to take a chance again here. It's that shimmering kind of vibrato that we criticize, that we have this nanny goat vibrato that's possible in some modern players, and oh no, we don't do that. But it's only because vibrato has evolved. So in the early 20th century, we have our very famous New York Philharmonic principal flutist John Woomer, and he was known for his nanny goat vibrato. And no one after all, he was principal flute of the New York Philharmonic. So now when a student comes along and does that kind of vibrato, we go, no. And either that or no, or go back 100 years and you'll be happier. And so I think what I also teach every student, you own your vibrato, be able to take it out, be able to use it as it was in the Baroque period. It was actually a finger kind of thing in the Baroque period. So it was used as an ornament rather than a pervasive. And, the violinists know that once the Romantic period really got going, and so did the hand. And so you wouldn't dare use vibrato sparingly. It's used all the time. And if the young students stay with it long enough, they'll find out that someone will enjoy their vibrato as it is, or try to change it, just like bow arms and that kind of thing.
So your understanding, or when you listen to a flutist play, whether in the klezmer tradition or otherwise, a lot of the time you're listening to how their unique vibrato, perhaps.
Yeah, and going on, we have our own kind of ornaments, which are actually based in the Baroque tradition. So we have a lot of they are imitating the voice when it cracks. My mother was a good singer. So I was able and thrilled to share that with them. That was with the Paris flutists. They had not ever done that before. And actually, you don't hear it on the Klezmer Flute players. And it wasn't until I started doing more what the violinists did in the Hale,
in a band, or in a way,
and they have so many more recordings. And also we have a researcher of the 1930s who brought out you must play with the cracks in the voice. And he really was focusing on the violin players, but I am making sure that I do that too. And that is all helps with that soulful quality. And I did put them in the Fishberg. When you look at manuscripts, although Fishberg wasn't a manuscript, you feel free to either notice that there's a written in ornament, or that it's typical to put one in. And so we worked on that kind of thing, because the ornaments are very important, whether you're slow or fast.
What's the difference? Like, why does ornaments matter so much to you? And also, is it because, again, like our topic today is about this, one of your quotes, which is "the flute is my voice." And do you find it's just because of the way we sing? There are little ornaments or little shakes, and that's what makes it very expressive.
Yeah, in klezmer, absolutely. And it's incorporated, almost hidden in the fast, but they're there. Just about everything that you hear in Baroque music, you know, can you imagine? You know, a Baroque piece sounds kind of strange without any ornamentation.
That's true.
You know, and Handel, Handel, was, you know, famous for writing goose eggs. Here's one of ours, a recorder piece. Well, nobody would have played it just blandly like that.
Yeah.
Practice to do it. And so I imagine you add your appoggiatures, you do.
It's beautiful. You're floating. There's more phrasing and there's loads more nuance when you have these.
Well, and maybe it's because, I mean, we should learn to play without, you know, without adding the ornaments, do your nuances. But I think it's all together. I mean, I can't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even let's go a little further into Mozart's time. If he were to, you know, be an invited, you know, guest child, and they said, Mozart, go ahead, Wolfie, go ahead and sit down and play something. If he were to do bum 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 bum, that's nice, Wolfie. Is there anything else you can do?
Yeah.
You know, so you know. You know, figurations were expected, and but you know, they didn't have another 300 years to get confused about. So everybody was taught, you know, you read your treatises, everybody knew. And if they didn't, read your treatise, and you know, Quantz tells you how to ornament, and not to do blank notes. And so I've been a traditionalist since day one of going into Oberlin, where I went to college, and we always played our pieces according to tradition. And I started my traverso, which is what the Baroque flute. I didn't start that actually until Yale, but I was being groomed for it because I was a harpsichord minor at Oberlin, and I just kept it up. Yeah, my piano teacher wasn't very good. She got nervous and drunk.
Okay.
So I decided, well, we have fabulous harpsichordists here. I think I'll switch to harpsichord, and I love Baroque music, so it
worked naturally, yeah.
And I,
wonderful.
You know, I was able to keep up my piano playing that way too, and that's why I enjoy playing my own tracks for myself.
Yeah, it allows you so much more flexibility. You're playing for yourself.
Yes, and I even
love it.
make you heard me doing this Telemann solo fantasy.
Yeah.
I like doing accompaniments, and it also helps. It helps the ornamentation come alive. And
Wow.
there's so much that I also teach my more interested and talented students some piano keyboard background, especially if they come in with nothing. I think it's important, and I assign keyboard work.
Good
Piano
for
work.
you. You're such a consummate musician. I really love that about
Thank you.
not just your training, but your exploration. It's really fascinating because it's not purely so specialized. And I find that this variety allows you to explore, have fun, meet a bunch of different people. And so I
Yeah.
guess we're going to have you thankfully perform to end our show. But before that, I'd love to ask your sort of advice.
Yeah.
You are a great pedagogue as well, and you produce an amazing students, including Sadie Goodman, who performed and won a prize on our show ages ago in our competition 2 years ago. Not
Well,
ages.
she's in conservatory now.
Good for her. Wonderful.
As a student of Paula Robeson at New England Conservatory. So
Fantastic.
her career is being
Yeah.
nurtured.
Amazing. So what I would love to ask, what advice do you have for perhaps your students or musicians out there on how to prepare for competition or prepare for concerts? Like something that's like the way in which we should prepare musically as well as perhaps mentally for something that's perhaps important to us.
No matter, frankly, what level the student is at, when they reach that point that they are comfortable, that's when you can encourage them to communicate as they're playing. And I think it's very important to groom that. We have little, if a young student were to be finished. I love when the 7 or 8 year old will say, "Oh, I'm finished with that piece. Move on," and that's how we progress. But I would like them to get to the point of communicating. And with your eyes, with your body movements, that we have a school of flute playing in various institutions, that there are some that say, "Oh, don't move at all." Well, that's telling me that if I want to express something, that if I say, "I want you to be home today by midnight," well, I'm not going to get that from that. And we do express, "I want you to be home by midnight."
Oh yeah.
Use your hands. Who doesn't use their body to communicate? So music is communication, and I always impart that in lessons, that I'm not getting the point from you. It's sort of like a conductor. Years ago, there was a conductor in my life that you go, what am I getting from that? Look up. Why should I look up? Communicate to me what you want. And if you have to say, "Well, I wanted you to get louder," well, the music says it, but if you're just going to stay there, then you're not communicating anything to me. And if I'm in the audience, I want you to be speaking to me. Otherwise, why go to a live performance? And my own teacher in grad school, he ran up to me after my recital and he said, "Oh my God, where was that in your lessons?" Well, they were lessons. I was just, seeing if I was right or wrong. And so, he didn't inspire me, and I wasn't inspired to communicate anything.
Yeah.
Nobody told me, but when I was performing, I was communicating and having a damn good time. And that's,
I love that. That's excellent advice. It's underrated because a lot of people talk about how to prepare and, certain methods and strategies, but I love this idea of just communicate. Speak, sing.
Yes.
Show me the music. Yeah, showcase what you want to say.
And speak the music. And right now I'm on a kick of figuring out how to also, it's really hard in these video auditions, but be ready to begin your communication when you're on camera, when you're on stage. And I find that I don't know if this used to be done. I would have to read more, but I don't appreciate the tuning process. I'm on stage. Back in the Baroque period, especially in France, they had preludes, and I have an idea that I would like to prelude anything that I'm playing and count that as my tuning. So join me in the piano if and warming up. Okay, now I'm in tune. That's better than.
Thank you for that. It's the idea that it's once you're on stage or on camera, the show is starting. As soon as, right? Yeah.
The show has started, just like pictures at an exhibition. I had a conductor say to us, at the end of this one piece, you hear, "Ba-da-ba-da." Well, that wasn't part of the piece. That was the visitor at the museum looking at the next, oh, look what's coming. Oh, there's another piece. And he said, that the when we look at art, is it within, that block, or as soon as you approach? So as soon as you get on stage, you are the artist. You are playing your art. You are displaying your art.
Yeah.
So just as in a museum, you don't want to just come upon it. You're in the environment already.
I love that. Yeah. That's fantastic. Really, it's beyond advice. It's sort of like something for all of us to think about constantly and be on our peripheral. And with that, speaking of the show, we're coming to the end of our time, and I would love for you to end our show with some music, and then we'll talk about upcoming season. And thank you for your time. Yeah, take it away.
Thank you for allowing me to play at the end here. We are in the middle of not middle at the onset of a war in Israel, and this is one of Israel's most famous pieces, and I would just like to play it in their safety. Stay safe, everyone. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Adrianne. Wow. With that, it's such a pleasure to have you. We're gonna spend some time to talk about upcoming season, but we also really appreciate your time and your advice and your beautiful music. It was really touching.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrianne. We have a really beautiful season coming up I'd love to tell you about. And it's not just an opportunity to be a competitor, but also to share your music, just like Adrianne did. We had something really fun and rambunctious to start and something very soulful to end. And I think that's art in general. So we have a wonderful season up ahead to showcase that. We have 4 different gala events in Carnegie Hall. We have 4 different orchestras for you to perform with, and the repertoire is open. So if you're inspired by today's show, feel free to perform klezmer or anything of the Baroque tradition or anything that inspires you. We welcome everybody of different ages and different backgrounds, as well as musical genres. So we would love for you to be a part of the season. We have a deadline of October 15th. That's our first deadline of many, but one which is quite important for the upcoming season and performance in Carnegie Hall at the end of November. So that's really coming up soon. We also have many different other opportunities for composers, vocalists, singers, ensembles, duos, trios to showcase their music. Last year we had a castanet player and she was one of our prize winners and she got to perform in Carnegie Hall. We've had clarinet duos. We've had incredible musicians from all different parts of the world come and be a part of our show because, well, what other better hall is there than in New York than Carnegie Hall, and to be able to showcase your music there is an immense privilege. I'm going to show you this clip of our reel to just promote it one more time and to show you what we have coming up. Hey, check this out. I know you have always dreamed of performing in Carnegie Hall, so I think this 2023 to 2024 season at Sound Espressivo will be perfect for you. As a platform, we host live online auditions so you can share your music with the entire world. Then we send you to incredible in-person venues like Carnegie Hall so you can perform solo, as a duo, as an ensemble, and with orchestra. This year we have a total of 4 gala events at Carnegie Hall, as well as 4 different opportunities to perform with orchestras in the US, in the Czech Republic, and even in Egypt. We want to help you fulfill your musical dreams. Go to soundespressivocompetition.com to check out our season and to apply. Well, with that, we want to thank also our sponsors and our collaborators, as well as our team. These collaborators and sponsors have been integral in making all of our season appear. You see Boulder Symphony with Piano Studios, New York Chamber Players Orchestra, we have iClassical Academy and History of Music, Colburn School, all places and people who support us, but not just financially, but also by giving opportunities for you, young performers and musicians out there, to perform on stage, on the big stage, on one of the biggest stages in the world. So we really encourage you to apply. Upcoming deadline is October 15th. Go to soundespressivocompetition.com or progressivemusicians.com. This was incredible. I'm going to bring Adrianne back onto the stage to say thank you and bye. We also want to give a hand to our team before we say that. And this team is in charge of so many things on the back end, making this season work out, but these are all musicians. This team is made out of all musicians who play incredible chamber music with the tech and with our other guest artists and hosts like yourself, Adrianne, and I'm really proud to be a part of this. Thank you so much, Adrianne, for your time. I was so inspired and you were so generous with your advice and your stories. Thank you. My pleasure. And well, we'll see you next time. We have a show at 12 noon every single day, and until next time, take care. See you all.